Spends his evenings with his friends now, drinking them down. Spends his mornings in his bedroom, he's choking it up. He has a vomit on the east side, now he's doing fine. But when the lights go out it's empty, now he's doing sometime. Nobody sees him the way that you do.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of Studio Creations. I'm your host, Cody Quint, and you were just listening to my friend's band, Who's This We, with lead guitarist Charles Block. He's agreed to come on the show today with us and answer a few questions on his success as a studio owner and as an artist. But first, on today's show, we have Ryan Roberts. How you doing today, Mr. Roberts?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
So I know you like to produce a lot of your own stuff as well as other people's music, but what is your favorite music that you would prefer to produce?
Oh, I would definitely mostly like to produce hip-hop and rap.
Okay.
Anything, though. I like rock. I'd like to produce country even, gospel. I like all kinds of music.
Okay. I would say that's a key point in becoming your own music producer, is just keeping your options open. So tell me this, Ryan. How do you plan on going about marketing your own production company?
Lately, I've been marketing just through a local website and through myself and, whoever I can get in to record and maybe throw me some money to do it.
Okay.
Is definitely helpful. I like just doing it for fun, is good enough for me because I do it anyways, but
Exactly. That's key. Nobody wants to go to work at a job that they absolutely hate. So when you like what you do, it makes it a lot easier. So, Ryan, how far are you willing to take this? What are you willing to do?
put ads in the newspaper. If I was, going to get serious, if I had a better studio and I could maybe charge people more money to come in, then I'd be more successful, I think. The equipment I have right now is, not interesting enough to anybody.
Well, in this business, you can't cut yourself short, Ryan. And actually, one of the things you need to know is a lot of other programs. So what other programs are you familiar with?
Pro Tools is definitely a good program. I know there's lots of different ones out there. Fruity Loops, GarageBand, and there's lots of different small programs. But
What do you think is the best program then?
I have to say Pro Tools is what everybody tells me is a great program. But I don't know. It seems to take up a lot of space and it's pretty pricey. But
Well, one of the reasons why it's probably so pricey is because it's professional. But on a serious note, to build a fan base and build a company, you pretty much need to establish some clientele. So one of the things you need to do is develop a fan base by doing free work. So do you do any of that?
yeah, here and there I do. Once a month, or so somebody will be interested in recording something in my studio, especially because I'm so up to date with local music. I try to get all kinds of artists.
All right, well, let me ask you something, Ryan. What do you think about podcasting? You think it's a good way to market your production company?
Yeah, I've never done any myself. I'm sure it could help for sure.
Well, listen, Ryan, I know you've produced music for a lot of artists in the past, and I just want to know how you're going to go about charging other artists in the future.
I'd like to make it into an official business maybe. I don't know if you have to make it into an LLC or something like that. DRP LLC is what I want to make it into. Dirt Road Productions. I don't know. It's hard to find hobby money to be able to throw into it.
Oh, it's expensive to own your own studio. There's no doubt about that, Ryan. Okay, I have a question here to ask you, Ryan. And I usually get the same response. Who is the favorite artist you've ever produced?
Oh, well, I make music myself, so I'd have to say one of my songs, maybe one off my new mixtape. Maybe somebody else's song that I've produced are always cool, too, because I like producing other people's. I don't know if I could pick a single one. I've got so many.
Well, just out of curiosity, whose voice would you rather record, male or female voices?
Female vocals are a lot of fun, I think. It's fun mixing the audio for those beautiful voices.
Okay. Well, what first inspired you to become a musician/music producer, and how old were you?
When I was younger, I got into making music and writing lyrics and rapping. When I started rapping, I obviously wanted to find a way to record it. I got myself a tape recorder and a CD player with some headphones and
Wow.
played it all into one take. It was one take you got to do the song, and I had a lot of fun with it when I was a kid. I had a blast.
Well, having fun makes this job a lot easier, people. Thanks again, Mr. Roberts, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I plan to have you on again soon, Ryan.
It's been a pleasure.
I'm daydreaming about a man, one that would treat me right.
back to Studio Creations. I'm your host, Cody Quint, and you were just listening to Daydreaming by Jocelyn B., another track produced by Charles Black. We're fortunate to have Mr. Black on the show today. He's agreed to give us some of his insight about his studio. How you doing today, Mr. Black?
I'm doing terrific. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing better now that I have you on the show with us. So I brought you on the show today to ask you a few questions about your own studio company. Just go ahead and give me a brief description of what you got working here.
Yes, so far so good. It's an all-digital studio. We decided that because tape machines are very expensive and hard to maintain. Plus, I don't think they're even making them anymore because digital has taken over.
What's a tape recorder? No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, how do you think starting a studio in today's economy is different from when you were my age?
Well, I think what's going on now is to start a studio, the equipment is really not as important as it used to be. I mean, it is critical, don't get me wrong, but with digital technology, it's very easy for anybody to have high-quality stuff on their desktop. So I think to start a studio is one thing. Of course, you need to buy quality equipment, but I think the best way to sell a studio is to sell yourself as a producer and not to sell the studio and its equipment, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, I understand the direction you're coming from. But how hard is it to keep your equipment up to date?
Well, with digital technology, all it is money. A lot of the outboard gear is all digital, so you don't have to buy boxes and set up racks and power them with sophisticated power devices. It's all digital now. Recently, I read an article where they got a group of the hot producers of the day, and they did a comparison between analog and digital, and everybody seems to endure the warmth of analog sound, so they did a blind side-by-side test. And every one of those producers picked digital. So it's something to be aware of. I mean, I like analog effects, but when it comes to putting things to digital versus a tape recorder, in my opinion, digital always wins out.
See, I've never had the opportunity to use a tape recorder, but digital seems pretty user-friendly, so I can see how that would be easier to use than a tape recorder. But anyway, what got you into the music production business?
Well, I started as a rock and roll guitarist back in high school. We got a band together, a couple bands together. I was in a band called The Rumor in the early days, and we played the Grandee Ballroom, and it was really exciting with Alice Cooper and The Frost and Ted Nugent and the MC5. And then after that, I started a new band, and we played at Denny McLean, the baseball pitcher's place, with Rush. We opened up for Rush, and we thought we were like huge stars, you know. And that was pretty exciting. And then I joined a group called Mariner, and we traveled the world for 15 years as a full-time musicians.
Well, in your day, I'm sure you've probably used lots of different types of equipment, but give me a rundown on the best mics you've ever used.
Well, you have to have an array of quality mics. You know, the Shure 57s, the Shure 58s are vital for recording drums and even vocals. I use a Behringer condenser mic for vocalists that don't sing quite as loud, but using a condenser mic, you need a prepared room, or a dead room, they call it.
I have a question here to ask, and I usually get the same answer. Who's your favorite artist you've ever produced in your career so far?
Well, of course, my own stuff. But the guys in Mariner, we've continued recording, and we've been lucky enough to have signed a deal with a production house out in California that places our material in movies and TV shows, which is kind of cool. So recently Mariner songs have been in The Love Guru, and then we've got a song in an upcoming movie called The Fighter, starring Christian Bale and Mark Wahlberg. That's coming up around in December. So we were just placed in a show on HBO called Hung.
Oh, wow, so that's pretty big. I actually watch that series every week. We're actually going to cut to that real quick. It's called Make Me Baby by Mariner, produced in Mr. Black's studio.
Well, it wouldn't be you again on my mind, and I feel like I should get to know you better.
Okay, Mr. Black, I have one more question for you. Do you have any recommendations for someone who's getting ready to start their own studio production company?
The equipment is important, But I think in this day and age, in my opinion, to sell a studio and its equipment is one thing, but you need lots and lots of money to rise above any of the other quality studios that are selling equipment. I think, in my opinion, the best thing to do is sell yourself as a producer, because that way you can use whatever equipment's in front of you. And I've heard it's not the equipment, it's the ears. I think that's very important to sell yourself as a producer.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Black.
My pleasure.
Special thanks to Ryan Roberts and Charles Black for coming on today's show. Also, thanks to Mariner, Jocelyn, and Who's This We for letting us use their songs on Studio Creations. This is Cody Quint signing off. Keep it classy, East Lansing.
Come on in there.